Heidi. What's wrong YouTube? Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to visiting lecture today. For everyone, those who have entered the room, we're about to begin, so please take a seat and make yourself comfortable. Good morning, ladies and gentlemen. Welcome to the Honorable Homan Memon as a lecturer and assistant registrar from University of Science, Pakistan. And a very warm welcome to all participants and students from STEKOM University. Is it indeed a pleasure to have all of you on this memorable occasion? I would like to thank God for gathering us here in a visiting lecture program regarding the changing landscape of education. Before we begin, please allow me to read our agenda this afternoon. First, there will be start a class presentation by Dr. Homan Memon, and finally, there will be a question and answer session after the presentation, and continue with the brief photo session at the end. Okay, ladies and gentlemen, without any further ado, we will start this class today, delivered by Mr. Homan Memon. The time is yours. Thank you.
Good morning, everyone. The topic I'm going to discuss with you is it visible to everyone?
Yes.
Okay, now we have to start that the topic we are going to discuss today is the changing landscape of the education. So first of all, we have to understand that what are the learning landscape. So the learning landscape in the education is the usage of pedagogical tools to create the immersive learning environment for the students to get successful in their life. So according to John Dewey, education is not the preparation for the life. Education itself is a life. So how can we elaborate this statement that it means that the learning is an active process that should occur to enhance one's learning and living standards and their understanding. According to Edward Damon, learning is not compulsory, neither is survival. It means that you have to learn. Without learning, you can't survive in this world because we are living in the global village. So without learning, we can't survive in this world. So it's very difficult without learning to survive in this world because we are living in a global village. So basically, to understand that what are the learning landscapes, we go through this slide that it's an educational tool so that allows us to generate personalized experiencing learning environments for our students to achieve educational success. So how the educational success will be achieved because we use these educational tools in this learning landscape of the education. So we create some environment, some experiences for our students so they can get their educational success. So this powerful educational tool is based on meeting point between two of the most widely known major educational innovations. What are these innovations? The innovations are the theory of multiple intelligence and the Blooming taxonomy. So we have to understand that what is basically the multiple intelligence theory based. The theory of the multiple intelligence is given by the Howard Gardner. So in this theory, Howard Gardner described the different way how in different way we teach the students, we learn the students and acquire the information from them. And in the Bloom's taxonomy, we classify the different outcomes and the skills that the educator sets for their students, that how they are going to learn, how they are going to educate their students. So they have to set some standards, some skills in the Bloom's taxonomy. However, this is only the starting point from which to develop this educational tool, we can set it up using other methodologies. What are these other methodologies? Such as gamification in the classroom, a flipped classroom model, corporate based learning, or a project based learning. So these methodologies are used in these learning landscapes to enhance the classroom, to flip your classroom with these cooperative learning model, project learning based models. Now we have to understand that why are these useful. So as we know that we are living in the age of information, flip in a knowledge based society. We are surrounded by a knowledge based society that is quickly evolving as a result of rapid changes in the digital media and the technology. As we are living in the world of digitalization, so the digital media, digital technology are evolving around us and they are rapidly changing. So we have to think about that. We have to rethink about that, that what are the new technologies, or what are these tools we have to use in this digitalization world. This leads us to a new educational pattern in which the reflective transformations in personal as well as in institutional life. So we have to create new educational tools, new educational patterns, methodologies, because we are transforming the personal and institutional life, because we are challenging the educational community to change the way they educate them and learn. So we have to think about that. In addition to being a useful tool, we have to think that we are using the tools, are the tools are useful for this educational change. So the learning landscape respond the students needs by providing them an audiovisual environment, a natural environment, and a functional environment. So we are using the tools. Are these tools helpful to the students? By because we are using the audio visuals, naturals, and functional environment in these tools. So these tools allows us to capture their attentions, making the contents more attractive for easily understandable by the students. The contents we are delivering to the students, or the topics we are discussing in the class, are these capture the attention of the students or not? So achieving their greater retention of the concepts. The basic concepts we want to deliver to our students are easily understandable by the students or not. So we have to think about that, that are these tools useful to them? This is the model showing the learning landscape, that how the learners can learn, the learner intervene, and how learner retrieve this information. And then after retrieving this information, how he respond, he applies in his life, and in the end, how he fulfill the results, or what are the outcomes of these learning landscapes in in their careers, in their lives. Basically, many ways the education landscapes are changing day by day, and we are living in the digitalization world. So the technology is revolving around us, and we are living in the digital world. And some of the ways I am discussing here, that 4 ways in which the educational landscape is generally changing. So as the technology is changing in the classroom, will continuously growing, as the use of multimedias, laptops, LEDs in the classroom. We are living in the digitalization world. So these technologies will revolving around us in the classes, and we can educate the students, the children in the classroom with the help of these technologies. And how online education moves forward. As we know that after COVID, online medium is g- gen- uh, working, or we are working in on the online education, and it move forward towards to the students, that they are using the laptops, the gadgets, the multimedias, iPads, and mobiles. So they are getting the lectures online, different workshops, online sessions, online courses. So the online education is moving forward and forward day by day, as we are growing in the digitalization. Third point, the way we are going to discuss that, an emphasis on the early education. So basically, in early education, the physical interaction of the students, the children in universities, in the schools, with the teachers, communication with the teachers, physically interaction with their classmates in the environment. So very much emphasize is also on the early education is focused on. As the way bilingual education goes big, that many of the universities, many of the institutes are offering bilingual education, that if a person is living in states and getting the education from China, so he can get the education in English and in his native language. So the bilingual education nowadays is going big and big nowadays. So how changing education landscape in education before and after COVID-19. So as we know that before COVID-19, the physical education in the classroom, interaction with the teachers, environment, and physical activities are made in the classes in the schools. So after COVID, these all physical activities are transferring towards the online education system, and we miss these physical activities in the schools and in the universities, in the colleges. So the landscape of this higher education is also changing day by day before and after COVID. That students' demographics, influencer networks, new media, and overall market perception of our value of our degree are causing many schools to rethink and their focus. So schools are very much worried about that how we can focus the students' concentration on these lectures, or how we can create them attentive in the online education system. So they have to rethink and refocus on these issues. So uh, So changing demographics in the education are likely that the high school graduation population is shrinking day by day. So peoples are learning online. So colleges are forcing to compete and market more nationally with local competitors. So the schools and colleges are worrying about that, how we can compare in the market local competitors and local schools. So traditionally, demographic of graduating high school students are also changing, becoming more culturally different than ever before. How this will affect the change in the landscape of the education, that influencer networks will affect that. Likely students are somewhat how now conscious about choosing a school, that which school we have to learn or we have to get the admission, because they are worried about their jobs, that after getting in this in the good school we will get a chance to get a good job. So they have worried about, they are very much conscious, their parents are very much conscious to choose a good school. So after graduating from that, they will get a good job in good organizations, good industries, or they are getting worth in the market. So out of the college, the alumni networks also playing a key role in achieving this goal. So in universities or in schools, there are different alumni networks. They are working for this achievement of this goal, that how the students will get the good schooling and getting good job. So high school guidance counselors are also swamped with the administrative duties. The high school management will engage the counselors with their administrative duties to work on and focus on the college preparation for their students population. So how they can increase the population in their school after focusing on these worried about these schooling patterns of the students, that how students are conscious about the schooling. So the counselors are also giving the task to focus on these tasks, these ideas. So the another landscape is the new media. So in new media, the new technologies are introduced in the classrooms, and through these mediums and these websites and these courses, students and parents are looking for different contents, giving from the school and looking in different mediums like view books, websites, and social media. So parents and students are searching for these mediums or these courses, that how school is providing the material for the learning for their children, that how they are learning or in these different mediums. So websites may be lower on the list of what attract students interaction than you think. The parents may look to the website for the assurance of that their children are doing activities like academic activities on the websites, or they are misusing them. So it's again a worried about the parents that they also may focusing on these websites to make assure themselves that students looking for more pictures or they are working for their academic activities or not. So it's again a time to be worried or to get serious about TikTok and YouTube, or that are the students uh, are the students are worrying doing the academic activities or not. So beyond these attractions, many reputable institutions are challenging traditional education. So the reputable institutions are again thinking that how we can focusing on the methods of traditional education, because students are being attractive on the websites, and hopefully they are doing the academic activities, but some of them are misuse these websites. So the question again arises that how can the schools positively utilize these technologies? So it's again a big question for the educators, for the teachers, that to rethink about this. Again, the landscape, the value of the degree, that what is the value of the degree that the students will hold in his hand after completing his studies. As we know that the famous names in the market, Bill Gates and Mark Zuckerberg and others, who are just an Ivy League dropouts and are very much successful in their life nowadays. So everybody knows that Bill Gates and Mark Zuckerberg are very rich and very successful in their life because they are Ivy League dropouts. So what is the Ivy League? Ivy League is an American collegiate athletic conference which comprises on 8 private research universities in the northeastern United States. So these person are the dropouts, and these are becoming successful without any degree. So some high school students see that the market is being flooded with college degrees. So what is the value of their degree after completing the courses in the schools or in the colleges or in the universities? So they are very much worried about it. So the economy is also going down, and the return of investment of the college degree is also declining day by day, because if you don't have the knowledge, so what is the value of your degree in the market? So what the question will arise is here as what will your school offer, which will help you meaningfully engage and add value to your degree? So there are some changes which will bring new trends, new opportunities, and different challenges in the markets. So what are these trends in 2023? That online learning methodologies, distance learning courses, homeschooling, mobile learning, gamification. So these trends are introducing, and these trends will bring the change in the landscape of education. So some opportunities, what are the opportunities the students will get from these learning landscapes? They will choose right job, they move for better career in their life. And what are the challenges faced by the students because of some budget issues, because of some evaluation, because of the policy making, that what policies are made for the then because of these learning landscapes in the market. So scarcity to abundance, that we know in underdeveloped countries like Pakistan and other countries, there is a scarcity of the resources to provide the education to the poor and needy peoples. And there is a very much scarcity in the providing them books, them their environment, the classes, the schools to educate them. So in developed countries, there is an abundance of the material, resources, classes, faculty, teachers. So there is a difference where the underdeveloped countries are facing too much scarcity in the resources, and in the developed countries, there is an abundance of the resources, the education, the teachers in their classrooms. So their people, their students are more educated than the underdeveloped countries. So to discuss that, to adopt to the knowledge economy, that your economy is being knowledged by the people. So every country needs millions and millions of more educated citizens. So as many educated citizens you have, your economy will knowledgeably growing up day by day. So new approaches to delivering academic quality and quality assurance in teaching. So how we can create new approaches by delivering the quality education and make the quality learning possible and effective in the classes. So it is also a big challenge, say, that how we can make it affordable for those who are needy peoples for the post-secondary education and give them access to more learners than ever before. Means we have to create some environment, the new approaches, and rethink about that how we can make it possible, make them affordable for the learners who are not affording the education. So before they are not before this, it is not possible, but in the era of online, on in the era of digitalization, in the landscape of the education, we make it possible for those who are not affordable the education, we give them online education freely. So again, skill mismatch, as we know that right person is not on the right job. So there are many examples. If engineer is getting a degree of engineering and he is working as a banker in his professional life, so he is misfit in his job. So a skill mismatch can be a vertical where the level of employee's qualification is not the one required by the job. So if a person is occupying some job, so he is not qualified for his this job. So definitely he is misfit in his job. So a typical example would be a graduate employee who works in a job that is typically considered to be a non-graduated job. So this is an example that if a person is working on a non-graduate job, so the graduate is considered to be overeducated because he is not fit for that job, because the job is not of the graduate. So if a graduate is placed on that job, so we will consider that the graduate is overeducated in this job. So how the skill mismatch is working in our digitalization world and in our life, daily life, we are living in the global village, and we see many hundred of students or hundred of employees working in misfit or in skill mismatch. Nowadays, the current issue is the artificial intelligence is replaced our human resources. So how artificial intelligence replaced 45% of our humans? As we know that the technological advancements attract the both young and old ones. Because of the technology, because of the use of laptops and mobiles, we attract the youngs and our old ones. So we must agree that things only become better with every passing time. As the times pass, we are creating new and entering in the new world and using the new tools like Zoom, WhatsApp, and communication tools like Emo, WhatsApp, Telegram. These are the softwares, and these softwares and these websites like YouTube and TikTok, the young generation and old one are also using these tools and these websites and these softwares. So with the passage of time, their advancement is also increasing. So the question is that the currently many tasks, day-to-day routines, and our daily routine works are influenced by these technologies. Suppose we have to book a cab to the airport at any time, or ordering groceries online, and making cash transfer to anybody any time of the day. So these all are the replacement of humans with the help of artificial intelligence. So somehow it is a good thing, and somewhere the drawbacks of artificial intelligence also there. So we have to think that technology is truly altering the way we live. So the technology is in our daily routine, in our daily life, is altering day by day, and its influence won't stop now, because we are living in the world of digitalization, and in the digitalization we have to work with the technology. We can't ignore is that we won't accept it. Without accepting, we can't survive in this world because of the artificial intelligence involvement in our life. Education 4.0 is the digital technology in education. So what is the education 4.0? Basically is the education 4.0 aims to overcome the shortcoming of conservative ways of teaching and learning. So it will overcome all the conservative ways of teaching and learning before the online education. So in education 4.0, the primary responsibility for the learning will shift from teachers to the student. So how it is possible with the help of pedagogy, digital technology, learning ecosystem, embarrassing the change, empowerment, and industrial revolution 4.0. In the industries, the 4.0, the responsibility of the workers are also shifting from the conservative ways to the new revolutionary ways of the working of the education. So our classrooms will become more flexible in next few years. How they are becoming more flexible? Because we are adopting these technological tools in our classrooms, and we accommodate diverse learning methods. We will engage our students, attract them to engage in the classrooms, give them assignments, and create the interest of the students in the classroom with the help of education 4.0. As we know that internet is a disruption in the education, and somehow it is very useful in the education. So we have to discuss that how the internet access will is creating a disruption rather than it will be useful in the academic activities. So the furthermore, internet access influences academic standards among the students. So how it can be influenced to the students for their increasing their academic standards? Because with the help of internet access, the student will increase their performance, academic performance, with the help of internet access, and they will improve day by day. But somehow without internet access or without internet facility, in some underdeveloped countries, the students are facing many problems in the learning, in the academic performance are very much low, because they don't have the access, freely internet access, or they can't afford the internet access. So there are some barriers, also some restrictions in the underdeveloped countries, and the peoples who are not affording the internet access, so their academic performance is very much low compared to the internet access students. So different internet use, on the other hand, has no impact on the academic performance as revealed by the results. So as the many researchers results are revealed that the use of internet access has no impact on the academic performance. But in some results or some researches shows that it has an impact on academic performance. The performance of the students are increasing day by day with the use of internet access. So many researches you can see that that revealed by that the internet is very much helpful in the academic activities. But in some researches you can see that the academic activities or academic performance not achieved with the use of internet access. So as it has been seen, if the internet facility is used for non-academic activities, it will not be found beneficial for the academic activities. This will be seen in many research that both aspects, that positive aspects of the internet facility and the negative aspects of the internet facility in the education. Education is more connected than ever, as we know that after the internet usage or after these technological advancement in our education system, education is more connected than ever, because we are globally connected and we are interchanging our skills, our knowledge, our courses online through internet medium. So the education will be more connected than ever before, because in the old ages where the physical classrooms were there, the limited number of participants are receiving the information, or education is delivering to number of limited students. But nowadays, because with the help of these landscapes, the education is connected more than ever. Some organizations are working on it. Like we are, I am also delivering the lecture online, and I am delivering from Pakistan. And the students who are getting this education or this topic, they are sitting on somewhere, some from India, some from Bangladesh, some from Indonesia, and different part of the world. So how education is more connected than ever because of the help of these tools. So the information and communication technology, we can say that ICT has modernized almost every aspect of our life and work. So as we say in our daily life and in our work, these technology influenced very much, and we are becoming modernized in our life, and our living standards are changed, our work experience are changed. So the students and workers are unable to navigate through a complex digital landscape, because the students and workers who are not familiar or who are not engaged in these type of technologies, so they are facing very much difficulties. They are unable to navigate these complex digital landscapes, and will no longer will be participate fully in the economic, social and cultural life around them, because they are not familiar with these technologies, with these tools and these mediums of the learning, and they are facing very much difficulty to participate in the economic activities, in the cultural life, in the social life surrounding them. So on the other hand, educated workers who are able to use these digital technologies, these ICT tools and networks, to acquire and evaluate information, communicate with others and solve practical problems, are more likely to be employed and earn more. So as we know that if the workers and the students who are educated with these digital technologies or these tools, so they are very much familiar with the tools, and they can evaluate easily the information. They have easily communication with the others and solve their practical problems in a good manner, rather than who are not unable to understand or navigate these handling these problems. So they are more employed, and they earn more rather than those workers who are not familiar with these tools, with these technologies. So with the help of this education landscape, the technology is very much important for the workers to familiar with these tools, and to earn and employ themselves in the digitalization world. So there are many challenges facing in the education sector, as the budget cuts, over assessment, access to the technology, teacher shortages, and inequality. So how the budgets are cut in the education sector, that through with the budget cuts, our education system get worse and worse day by day, because we don't have budget. We are harming the students, lowering the quality of our education system, non opening of the new schools rather than closing of schools, closure of scholarships, because the needy peoples need the scholarships, and with the lack of budgets or budget cuts, we don't offer the scholarship to the needy peoples. And the education sector is also facing the big problem with these budget cuts, and the over assessment in the classes, and with the over assessment we are losing the time and money, because we educate them in that time, because we frequently assess them. So this is also a big challenge, that we have to control the assessment system to utilize better assessment system rather than the over assessment. So inadequate access of technology, that we don't have the technology access, because some barriers, because of some restrictions, we cannot and the teacher by the good schools, when the teacher shortage is very much, lack of good teachers is always a problem in the education sector. A big challenge in the education sector, that how we can remove this inequality, like gender, demographic, resources, books, funding. These are the hindrances we have to remove from the education sector, that every inequality is removed, and we make side these inequalities to provide the good education to everyone. Larger demands for higher education. As we know that higher education system, we are making more demands, because in higher education system in the developing countries, we are seeing massive growth in the demand of higher education. So everywhere higher education is demanding more and more, because there we are living in a global village, and we need educated people more and more in the market. So in developing countries, the growth is very much demanding, because we need higher education and more students than ever. So we are moving through the education pipeline from primary to secondary, that we have to create the resources, or our education institutes create the higher education institutes for the students, because the market is demanding for those higher education institutes or higher education students. So they work for betterment in the industries, in the organizations. So their demand is increasing day by day, because in the developing countries they are worrying, they are very much worrying that how we can fill these gaps, we can complete our job spaces, because we need the high educated students from the institutes. So this growth has not been restricted by the pandemic. So with the help passage of time, we see in the COVID or in the pandemic, everybody is saying that this is the cause, that the growth is stopped by the pandemic. So we cannot produce the high qualified students in the institute. So this is not restricted by the pandemic. There are some other contributors, or some other restrictions in these higher education demands. So we are going to discuss about the competencies in the students, that what are the market competencies the market is demanding for these competencies. As we know that competent person is everywhere needed, and every organization needs the competent person, as they need a competent person, because he is a competent in his skills, in his knowledge, in his education. So competency is also playing a very important role in the learning landscape of the education. So as much competent students are, they will be get a good job in the market, and they will better encounter their daily routine and their problems and their situations. So competencies are very much critical for equipping students with their knowledge, skills, and attitudes. So competencies, we make them competent, and equipping the students with the full of knowledge. We can loaded the students with the knowledge, better skills, and good attitudes that they will need to successful navigate their personal journey in learning, living, and working. So the institutes or the learning environment courses will provide the students and equip them or load them full of knowledge and skills, so they successfully live their journey in the learning, in the living, and in the working environment in the markets. They will be successfully compete with their competencies. So students use and develop competencies when they encounter unfamiliar and challenging situations. As we know that market is full of challenges. So in different organizations, when the students without competencies are going, and so they cannot counter the unfamiliar and challenging situations, because they are not competent with the skills and with the knowledge. So students have to compete in the market with their competencies to fight with to encounter the unfamiliar challenges and different challenges and different situations in the market. So we have to think about the new careers, that what are the new careers in the learning landscapes. As we know that students after getting job, they are switching their career in different fields, in different roles. So as the careers are switching, or their job role may change, so they have to again rethink or educate themselves for some format or some courses than they ever learn ever before, because that job requirement or that role must be needed, that the person is going back to educate himself or herself in some format to work on that job or work on that role. So we have to think about the credentials. So everybody is full of credentials. So the credentials are your assets. So as much credentials you have, you are becoming popular in the market. So nowadays, as the credentials are becoming increasingly popular in the market, is being flooded. So beginning to flood. So as the market needs the more credential persons in the for the job, so the higher education institutes are also offering or creating new offering that they may not even had. So the higher institutes are also worrying or also creating the new offering for the new credentials, because after all of the lacking of the funds. So the persons, industries and the markets are demanding for the high credential peoples to work in the market. So the students and the institutes are worrying that how we create the more credentials in the students, so they are getting the good jobs in the market. So the question was that what's important is to take a step back or to evaluate that what is actually needed to help the adult learners. So again, the question is that the education institutes have to sit back and evaluate that what is the demand of adult learners, that to get back into the workforce very fast and efficiently. So if we create some new credentials in our adult learners, so they can get quickly the workforce very fast and very efficiently while being transparent and accountable. So these factors are also being focused, that we have to being transparent and accountable, that how we can create these new credentials in our students. Here is the model of digital credential overview, that how the credential issuer set a criteria for your student, being a wellness to the transfer wellness to the student, and how this student is going to be assessed and submit this evidence. After accepted this evidence, the credential is awarded to this student, and how then students is going to the public or to the market to display his credentials, like he is a critical thinker, he is working in a teamwork, he has a wellness. So all these credentials are helpful in the market. So the institutes or the credential issuers are setting some criteria for these students to loaded them with the new credentials and digital credentials in the students. Nowadays, the students are changing in the this digitalization world, because they are adopting the changes of the learning environments, and they accept these changes of the online learning, and with the merge of with the merge of physical learning also. So the landscape of the higher education is evolving at a prompt step. So we have to think that how we can educate or how we can create a landscape in the higher education. So the it's a very prompt step in the nowadays. So it is a good thing for the institute and for the students to change the landscape in the education system. So students now have more options than ever before, because in previous years or before pandemic, the students are going to school physically, and they work in the same environment, in the same class, physically interact with the teachers and with the students. They have giving the task to complete the practicals in the classrooms. So the students now enjoying and advent the online learning, because they have a chance and they have a availability of more courses than ever before in the history of education institutes, because online education provides them opportunity to learn different courses online, because in the schools they have a limited resources and they don't get these courses in their schools. So they enhance their learning, they modernize their learning, and they availability of more courses online in the online education. So the students are, thanks to the advent of online learning. So what is the quality? There is a target to achieve the quality education in the education system in the this landscape of the education system. That target is 4.1, that we have to completely free our primary and secondary education in our schools in different part of the world, because we have give a quality education to completely free education for the boys and girls by 2030. So it's a target which we have to achieve in our schooling primary and secondary by 2030. So it also aims to provide a equal access to affordable job related training, so and to eliminate the gender and wealth gaps. So we have to remove these gaps of gender inequality and wealth, to because when the people are not affording the primary and secondary education, so they are not achieving the access to the quality higher education system. So we have to remove these gaps, and we have give them an affordable and free primary and secondary education, because they have to they have to achieve the universal access after the primary and secondary to the higher education. So basically we have freely the primary and secondary education, then they will move towards the higher education easily, because they don't achieve or they don't get the primary and secondary education. So how they can get the quality higher education in their schools and in their education environment? So we have to provide the equal access and affordable job related trainings in these institutes and in these schools, and to provide them a quality education. So this is a target which we have to achieve by 2030. A very famous statements, very much quoted in the different lectures, that according to Nelson Mandela, education is the most powerful tool, weapon we can use to change the world. Because in the we don't have education, we cannot change the world. So as we know that education transforms individuals, societies, because they are gaining knowledge. After getting knowledge, after a complete set of skills and the values, we can solve the problems easily, and we can contribute to the communities and for their development. So with the help of this educational tool, we can change the world for the future. So we are discussing what are the opportunities we are giving in these learning landscape, or in this technical education system, that employers are at the heart of our new system for the technical education. So groups of employers are setting the standards for different occupations. As we know that new system will develop by the employers. So in these new systems, we have to provide the technical education to our workers, to our teams, to our employees, that they have to work with this new system with the help of this technical education, and to maintain the standards in different occupations. So as we know that each occupational standards describes what a person need to know and be able to do for a particular role. So employers are very much familiar with these standards, and they are creating these standards because they want their persons to know about these standards, and they prepare them to be able to do a particular role in a particular area, in a particular field, because these standards are set for by the employers to upgrade their organization, their institute industries. And with the help of this upgradation, they also need technical education for the persons, for their employees to be well aware of these systems. So these standards are somehow grouped in 15 technical education routes that are working from agriculture sector to the catering, and from to the health sector to the science. So in every area, near about 15, these 15 technical educational routes are prepared for these new system which are adopted in these industries, or in these uh, occupations. So, according to Chris Grosser, opportunities don't happen, you create them. So, it's a very famous quote that opportunities don't happen, you are the person to create them. So, you have to make conscious efforts and to create opportunities for yourself. Because if you are not capable, or you are not skilled, or you are not educated, so you don't create opportunity for yourself. So the opportunities you are creating for yourself, you have to qualify you for the opportunities. Because if you are qualified, you are skilled, and then the opportunities automatically creates. So you create opportunity for yourself, they don't happen. So remember this, that you are going to create opportunities for you in your life, for your career, for your job. So when you will educate yourself in a good manner, you have the skills of technical and employment skills, job related skills. So you automatically create your opportunity by yourself. The economic value connection. So we are also knowing that economy is playing a very important role in our society. That the knowledge and the skills of the workers available in the labor supply are the key determinants for both business and economic growth. So the workers that are working in labor supply, that have a complete knowledge and skill set to survive in the business, and will be helpful for our economic growth. Because the knowledge and skills are the key determinants in the for the workers, for the business, and for our economic growth. Because they play an important role, because workers are the assets. Because if the workers are not knowledgeable or not skilled, so we cannot achieve our economic value in the society. So industries with the higher education and training requirements tends to pay worker high wages. Nowadays, we are looking that if the worker is highly educated and highly trained in this field, so yeah, the company or the industry will pay him the high wages. So it's again a question of worry that how we can give the training or give the education to the workers. Because if we give them higher education and higher skill sets and trainings, so the market will pay them high wages. So differences in the training levels are a significant factor that separated developed and developing countries. So the training levels, as we discussed, that different level of trainings are set by the different states or different countries, like developed and developing countries. So in developed countries, the training levels are different, and in developing countries, the training levels are different. Because in developed countries, they are giving the trainings to upgrade these levels, and in developing countries, they are starting from the beginning, or some new innovations in the trainings. So it's a very much separated in both developed and in developing countries. The levels of the trainings are very much different from each other. So as we know that economy productivity rises as the number of educated workers, so the worker number will increases since skilled workers can perform tasks more efficiently. As in the economy, we are going to produce the products and we will increase our economy. So we have a greater number of educated workers, but with the same in the same time, skilled workers also perform the task more efficiently. So we will take them both, combine both of the workers, educated workers and skills workers together to produce yeah, or to create the economic productivity greater. So we will arrange them, or we can combine the educated workers and skilled workers all together to perform the task efficiently, and create economic productivity rises. So and an economy is a more valuable when equal education and labor opportunities are available across gender, race, age, and tradition. So we also have focus on of the we have a focus on the across the values of gender inequality of gender, race, age, and tradition in the economy. So we create equal opportunity for the workers beyond the gender, beyond considering the age or traditions. So we will generate the economy more valuable with the help of these opportunities and these education system across these inequalities. Experiential learning also play a very important role in the learning landscape of education, because it's also a new learning landscape in the education system. That experiential learning, what it is basically is a philosophy or a methodology in which educator purposefully engage with students and direct experience and focused reflection in order to increase knowledge, develop skill, and clarify values. So how this experiential learning works in our education system, because in the schools and in the universities and colleges we are creating or providing the experience work in the classroom with the help of theory, because theory supports the practical. And if we are learning on only learning theory, and we incorporate their direct experiences in the classroom and give them knowledge and provide them some skills, so the value of the degree will enhance, and the students who are working or teaching in the students who are learning in the experiential learning environment, they are more advanced and more qualified or more valuable in the market after experiential learning environment. So what are the benefits of experiential learning? So we have see that we have developed the capacity to adopt a new situation. So in the student, we are having developing the capacity to adopt the new situation. We are preparing our student to adopt a new situation, to fight with the new challenges. So we are creating the experiential learning environment in our class to develop the capacity to adopt new situation, to digest new situation when the student is going in the market. So how he has to tackle challenges, different new challenges and the new situations. So after giving this capacity to the student, we are bridging the gap between theory and the practice. As we already discussed that the theory will merge with the practical work. So what theory says, we also support with the practical example in the classes. So it is very helpful in bridging a gap between the theory and practice, that how practically the theory is implemented in the practical life when you are going in the market for the job or for the work in the industry. So again, it provides a safe place to fail and try. So how it can provide a safe place to fail and try? Again, because in the experiential learning environment, you have a chance to try again. Suppose if you are failing in your practical work or in your task, so in the classroom you have a chance to try again, to improve yourself. So you don't have a worry to that you are being fired from the job, because you are working or you are trying in a safe place, because school or college is providing you a safe place for experiential learning, that you are going to try again, try again, try again, and you will get your goal easily. So after this, you are allowed for an assurance assessment for skills, assessment of skills, because in experiential learning, after you are achieving the goals, you have to calibrate yourself by the assessment of your skills, that how much you are accurate in your skills, how you can use these skills or your accuracy in these skills. So after these steps, you are going to gain work experience from the classroom. So in the end, you are very much get experienced in the task, in the job, or in the knowledge of after getting the experiential learning in your classroom. So nowadays, openness is a burning issue that in the education sector, everywhere you have an open access of the courses, of the workshops, of the lectures. So students are very much feel free to join these courses, these lectures, these platforms for their learning, for their education, for their certification, for their degrees. So, in the context of education, openness has become the watermark for fast growing number of learning materials and associate platforms and practices from a variety of institutes and individuals. As different institutes are offering learning materials and platforms and practices for the students and individuals to work with them, to collaborate with them, and they are providing different learning material for the students to learn in freely and in have an open access. The examples are International Global Professionals IGP. Open Educational Resource is a platform where you can learn, and massive open online courses. MOOC is also another platform which is for online courses. And more recently, initiatives such as Coursera are just some of the forums this movement has incorporated under open banner. So students feel free nowadays to learn open access online courses in different platforms, and different learning materials are available online freely. So you have an open access, you just go and join and learn. So the education landscapes is changing landscapes is nowadays working on these this openness also, so that you are working in open access environment to learn yourself. So again, the digital paradox, that is a big question and a big challenge, that we are missing our teachers in this digital era, with because we are missing the interaction with our teachers physically in the classroom, with the students, and with the learning environment which is provided in our classrooms. So we are missing this digital paradox, and it's a big challenge in the digitalization, how we will remove this gap and bring the teacher and student interaction closely good manner, and how this gap will be removed in the digitalization. So a big challenge to the digital learning is missing interaction with teachers. So many students have difficulty facing communicating and engaging with their teachers while digital learning. So it's a big challenge again. The again I am going to discuss that the students having facing difficulty in communicating and engaging with their teachers in this digital learning environment. So in the digital paradox, this very big challenge, we have to work on it, we have to think on it. So it's challenging to keep the students focused when a teacher isn't present in physically present in the classroom. So because online medium, we don't have the interaction, directly interaction with the teacher, and in some platforms, teacher isn't present because of the artificial intelligence. Lectures and courses are delivering by the artificial intelligence. So the teacher presence is missing in this digitalization world, or in digital paradox. Humanics. Humanics is also discussed in the learning landscape of the education. That in education technology startup founded by global teams of educators, technologists, and designers based in Tokyo, San Francisco, Sydney, and Berlin. It's a global team working on humanics, that how to create a education technology system or self-motivated learning systems that is working with the technical and soft skills. So their main focus is on developing a self-motivated learning system and the technical and soft skills in the students to prepare them for the rapidly changing. environment in the education. So nowadays the world is changing rapidly, and we are moving towards the artificial intelligence. So the team of these educator, technologists, and designers are working on the development of these self-motivated learning system, that how we create a self-motivated learning system among the students, so they can self-motivate towards the learning, and how we can create the technical skills and soft skills in in the students, and prepare them for these rapidly changing environment of artificial intelligence, because they are preparing themselves for these changes, because artificial intelligence filled the landscape of the future. Because in the education system, artificial intelligence is involving 45% of the humanics. So we have because of this humanics. So there are some new measures in the altimetric and analytics. So altimetrics and analytics. So we have to discuss the new measures, that what are the new measures taken by the altimetrics and the analytics. A single research output may live online on multiple websites and can be talked across a dozen of different platforms. As nowadays we are living in the digitalization world, and we know that the researchers are working on the material available on different websites and different platforms, and have discussed across dozen of different platforms for their we have researches. So the researchers get these material on different websites for their research, and they can incorporate the material from that websites, and work for that, and enhance their researches, and create a good work for that. At Altimetric, we work behind the scene, collecting and collating all of this disparate information to provide you with a single visually engaging and informative view of the online activity surrounding your scholarly content. So how Altimetric is working behind the scene with the help of collecting and collating all the disparate information which is disparate everywhere, and is going to provide you with a single window visually engaging for your online activity, for your scholarly content, for your research work. So Altimetrics is working like that behind the scene of your research. So learning analytics is again a new layer in the area of research, because in the analytics you can practice and use the computational analysis of the learning process data to better understand and improve the learning. So with the help of research, and with the help of practice, you use your analysis, and your data will be computationally analysis by the some softwares to better understand the results, that how you can improve your learning in the digitalization or in the changing landscape of your education system. Here again is the 70-20-10 rule, which is showing that how you are learning 70% of your knowledge on the job, and how you are learning 20% in the informal learning on your, and 10% you are learning from the formal learning in the courses, in the classrooms, in the trainings. So the 70-20-10 rule reveals the different individual tends to learn that 70% of their knowledge are getting they are getting from challenging experiences and assignments from the job. So they get 70% of their knowledge, and their learning will get from the job they are working in this job environment. So 20% from the development relationships they are developing in the education sector, that what are these relationships in formal learning, and 20%, and 10% formal learning from the coursework and from the trainings they are getting in the schools, in online courses. So how we can see this uh, 70-20-10 rule in this picture, that how the 70-20-10 rule is developing and driving largely on the job experiences. So 70% on the job experiences are the development in real time. So how you can develop yourself in the real time on the job assignments and cross functional projects. It means you are working on the job, you are learning on real time assignments, and you are working on the projects, and you are working in the real time environment, so you can learn 70% from the job experience and 20% from your relationships development from coachings, feedbacks, performance and career discussions, mentors, relationships or professional organizations and networks. So 20% you are learning from your coaching, you are learning from your feedbacks from the customers and performance, because your relationship with your customers, and you have a career discussion, and you have a mentor relationship or professional organizations and networks. And 10% of your learning is basically the formal training which you are getting in your schools with the help of structured learning, e-learning, certifications, conferences, classes, courses, and reading, self-study, and performance and support. Here are some challenges faced by the learning landscapes in the education. So traditionally, e-learning challenge is a very big challenge, that how we are going to make a space with the e-servers, with the web browsing like Google Drives, networks, and a space on the Google Drives. So it's again a challenge in the learning landscape, that we are worrying about that how we are making the space on the e-servers so we can deliver and we can transfer the information to the students. So it's a big challenge. So number two is the lifelong learning retooling. So what basically lifelong learning retooling is to create the opportunities and the capabilities to work together, because we have to rethink and we have to retool the opportunities, our softwares, our capabilities to live lifelong learning environment for the student. So it's a big challenge in the learning landscape, that we have to rethink and retool for your tools and for the lifelong learning in the learning landscapes. And number three is the challenge is the degree versus competency based model. As you know, degree is valuable when you have a knowledge of your degree. So in the competency based model, you are collecting and collecting the competencies together for successful working networks, or you are creating the working environment and setting the working environment for the competency based model. So degree is not only a challenge. You with the help of degree, you also need the competency based model for your learning landscape in the education system. So it's a big challenge to create to combine both degree and competency based model together with the learning landscape in the education. Number four point or challenge is the digital and network learning. So how you are digitally creating and learning environment with these networks. So it's again big challenge. You are working in the digitalization world and you are creating the networks among them, among students and among learning environments. Number fifth challenge is the flexible career paths. In the digitalization in the learning environment, you are creating flexible career paths for your students. So it's a big challenge. So how you can create flexible career paths in this digitalization, that the students are freely choosing the career paths in their life. Because with the help of online learning, it's very much challenging for the institutes and for the students to select the flexible career paths. Number six challenge is how we are connecting STEM and humanities. So, what are the STEM? STEM is the science, technology, engineering, and mathematics with the humanities. So, we are going to practically connect the science with the humanities, technology with the humanities, and engineering and mathematics with the humanities. So, this is a big challenge how we are connecting these STEM with the humanities to perform better in the learning landscape of the education. And the seventh last one challenge is we have to thinking globally, that we have to develop a change in the observation, to develop that how we are thinking that we are changing the environment of the learning that globally accepted. So it's again a big challenge for the so here's a picture showing that thriving in a changing landscape, optimizing a digitally influenced work integrated learning model. So this picture shows that thriving in the changing landscape, that we have developing a change in the education to develop environment or digitally influenced work related integrated learning model. So in this model, you are going to think about that what lies at the top depends on you. Means you are thinking about the change, and you have to worried about that what you will receive after completing your education, or after this changing landscape. You are going to suppose that what is lies on the top, it depends on you, that what you are going to put it on the top a priority, that what you are going to achieve in this digitalization world with the help of this work integrated learning model in the learning landscape of education. So how we can incorporating experiential learning in our system, that we are moving in the learning landscape of the education. So it is a key ingredient to be a successful in the education sector, is to introduce experiential learning in your course. That how schools and colleges are incorporating the experiential learning in their courses, in their materials, that how their course will be fully ingredient with these experiential learnings, because students are nowadays worrying for their future. So how the education institutes incorporate these educational experiential learning in their courses. So it's again a big challenge for the institutes. So with the students not being able to get practical experience, it is an imperative that instructors make the course more engaging. So how the institutes or how the instructors are creating the courses more engaging with these practical experiences with the students. So students are very much conscious about their learnings, about their jobs, about their careers. So instructors are going to be worried about that, how they are creating the courses more engaging for the students, because they are incorporating the practical experience in the courses. So students are being able to understand that, or being adopting these changes easily or not. So according to a survey that is conducted in Canada, almost 35% students reported that the pandemic results in the cancellation or postponement of their work interrelated learnings, because due to pandemic, many of the assignments, many of the work related learnings are postponed due to the pandemic. So it's a research output that according to the research that is conducted in Canada, that 35% students are reported that their work integrated learning environment are affected or cancelled, postponed due to this pandemic situation. And there are many researches you have found in the internet, that what are the effects of these experiential learning incorporation in the education system. So bridging this gap is going to be a key to ensuring students are career ready or not. So again, the question is that how to remove this gap of experiential learning, because after getting experiential learning, we are also worrying about or ensuring about that students are career ready or not. Because after this learning environment, students are going to the markets for their career. So are they career ready or not? So it's again a big question. So career readiness, we have thinking for the experiential learning, that are you career ready for the market? Because the again the career readiness, we can say that it's a technological adoption of automation and contract workforce. So how you will be triggered that the technological adoption of the students are means helpful for them in their career or not, because you are incorporating the technology or the practical work in the course with the coursework. So the students are worrying that how we can compete in the market, because in the forecasting signaling that a 50-50 share of work between humans and machines by 2025. So it's very difficult for the students to getting the job in the market, because they are preparing for working with the machines by 2025. So it's a signaling that 50-50 work is distributed among the humans and among the machines. So it's again a question for the students and for the teachers, that how they are making the students ready for their career in the market. So how teachers leverages technological advancement in the learning platforms with will influence and how well prepared their students are for the markets. So this is the question we have to think about it. That it is a very serious issue, that with the help of machines or artificial intelligence, students are very much worried that are they career ready or not. So communicating in a hybrid environment, we are living in nowadays we are living in a hybrid environment, because we are working physically in the class, learning physically in the classrooms and working physically in the industries and environments. And we are online working, and online learning is also be a part of our life. So how we will communicate in this hybrid environment? So the blended learning environment has a has flipped the traditional one-way lecture, because in the higher education institutes, the higher education students are taking up the change with the environment, because in the online education system, the higher institute students are feeling free, because they have easily access to the supervisors at any time. Online lectures are delivered by the supervisor, because the supervisor is busy in some meeting or in some assignments. So with the help of this hybrid environment, they are learning easily with this medium of online learning. So there is a one study, over 50% of the students reported better learning experience since changing to the online learning. So many studies and many researches you will found on the internet, that this is one research quoted here, that 50% students which have better learning experience rather than online learning. So there is a drawback, and there is also a good point, that 50% are learning with the online and 50% are not satisfied with the learning experiences. So this is an evidence of the communication channel available to the instructors, allowing them more time to focus on higher value added classrooms discussions. So this is evidence we are going to provide, that in communication, different communication channels that the instructors are using, they allow them to focus on high value added classroom discussions, because in the online system they don't have this type of facility that they have discussion in the online session, because in online the limited resources are there, and physically interaction is not possible in the online. So in the communication channel, the instructors are focusing on classroom discussions very thoroughly, that we have made this classroom discussions, how we can make these classroom discussion possible in the online lectures. So exactly how this is achieved in down is down to how comfortable an instructor is with it instructor study software tool. So basically the question is that the instructor is comfortable with these study software tools or not, because instructor is a major we can say a major contributor in the study of this in this learning landscape of the education. Because if instructor is not feeling comfortable with these software tools, so how he can achieve the goal, or how he can deliver his lecture to the students easily and comfortably. So again, it's a challenging situation in the hybrid environment. So how we are making the data driven decision in the learning landscape, because we are collecting the data, and research has been made on the data driven decisions are taken in the educations, that how much these online decisions and online education system are supporting. So, with a wide sample size and a long history of interacting with the students, education institutions are best suited to draw on years of data to make informed decisions as they spool to the future of education. So, with the help of research, with the help of sample size and long history collecting from the students and institutes, so it's a research made by the teachers and the instructors, that how we are making the decisions and how we make the future education system, how we can spool this data, this research from the students, from the institutes. So, from designing courses for graduates and undergraduates, students, to recalibrating assessment of data can help institutes make foolproof changes that positively impact students' learning. So, assessments of the online learning teaching, years of data will help the institutes to make some changes, to make data-driven decisions in that a way, that designing such a courses that will be that will be helpful in the future and will make positive change on the students' learning environment. So again, we are moving towards the management information systems, that how these management information systems are incorporating with our education system. So getting critical pieces of information across to students and ensuring it has been correctly understood is really very important in this management information system. That how the students and the students are receiving the information, or collecting or gathering this information, because it's very critical in this information system that students are easily understand or easily understood this topic, or it's the understanding this lecture or understanding this medium of learning. So we have to make ensure that it's very much important to create such type of environment, that in the management information systems, so the students will easily understand and cover up the topics very easily. We have to think about it. It's a very really important topic. So grades, attendance, behavioral information, admission status, etc., are all key stages that students need to be well aware of. With the help of these management information systems, the softwares and the systems are managing the grades, their attendance, their behavioral information, their admission status. So all are the key factors which students are worried about that, and they are well aware of these systems that are incorporated in the management information system. Because in these systems, their grade, their attendance, their behavioral information, their admission status, means all the information related to the students are incorporated in these information systems. So the students have to well aware of these systems, making the systems more engaging, allowing administrator to manage a seamless database of all student faculty interactions in institutes, making it easier for them to scale. So again, it's a question of the administrators or the university IT administrators to make these systems more engaging and more allowing and more engaging, and allowing the students and faculty to access the database, and interaction in the institutes become more easier for them. Of the IT administrator to manage a seamless database which will work freely and in a easily environment. User friendly platform is provided to the student faculty interaction within the institute, so they can work for them and make it easier to scale them, to judge them. EdTech, basically, it's a education technology, as it is popularly called EdTech, is here to stay and grow. So nowadays, education technology is growing rapidly in our daily life, as we are seeing that in primary, secondary schooling, and in the higher secondary, and in the education even in the universities, your education technology is changing day by day because of these changing landscapes. So we are adopting these changing landscapes in our daily life also. So in the education system, these learning landscapes are fully incorporated with our physical interaction with the students and the teachers. So so getting students engaged, motivated, and communicating effectively are going to be the influential factor in making sure the institutes of today succeed in the changing landscape of tomorrow. So again, students are very much aware, very much engaged and motivated in these communication channels of the education, and how these channels are affecting going effectively going to change these students and institutes, because we are thinking for the tomorrow. So we have get the success in today's in present, so we have to change the landscape of tomorrow. So it's very important for everyone to rethink about it, because we are living in a hybrid environment nowadays, and 45% of your resources are occupied by the machines. So we have to think about that how we are going to change these landscape of educations in our institutes and our schools, in our universities, and that's all. Thank you.
Thank you so much for the presentation, Mr. Homan Memon. And for our audience, if you wanna ask question, you can raise your hand or you can write in the room chat. Okay, for first question, we have the question from Miss Febriana. In what way have socio-cultural factors such as globalization, diversity, and inclusivity influenced the transformation of education? And how can educational institutions adapt to this evolving dynamic to foster a more equitable and inclusive learning environment? Thank you. The question from Miss Febriana.
Please write in the chat, so I will easily understand that.
Just a moment, please. I'm ready, right in the room chat.
What overall it's the purpose of pursuing more openness? Is this the question, or you are writing the question?
Wait, just a moment. From Febriana. I'm ready, right in the room chat.
In what ways have social cultural factors such as globalization? First, I read and then I will answer. So, Fabriana, the answer is that in the social cultural factor and globalization diversity, as we know that education is transforming from the old methods of the education in the new era of digitalization. So the education institutes adopt these dynamic changes because the learning environments are changing day by day, and frequently we are moving towards the new tools of the education system. So the factors that are affect in the social cultural environment, because of the globalization and because of the diversification in the environment, we have to work on it, and we have to rethink about that how we are removing these hindrances and these worries of the problems of the education system. And we have to transform these education systems, and we are working for the better learning environment in this digitalizations.
Thank you. And then the next question from Miss Setia Putih. Just from Mr. Setia Putih.
So you are asking about the market competencies. So as you know that market is full of demanding for the competent persons and competent students for the industries and for the government. So in the competencies that we are producing our students and giving them knowledge and create their competencies to up to the level of mark that they meet the market expectancies. So how we make them competent, because in this online learning environment we have a lack of physical interaction, and we use different platforms of online learning and different tools of online learning. So we have to provide them such the trainings like experiential learning in our environment education system, so they get the experience in the working environment and in with the theory, with the practical examples. So when they go to the market and when they go to the industrial sector, so all these informations and these their knowledge will be collaborating with the industries and the government, because with the help of these industries and with the help of government, the students are more reliable on their demand, and they are more valuable with their degrees, because their degrees are more valuable now with the help of these experiential learnings and other tools which are used in the changing landscape of the education system.
Thank you so much. And then we still have two questions again. And and then the next question from Miss Devi Lestari.
Your question is, Ms. Devi, your question is about openness. So as you know that in nowadays there are different platforms open for all. Open resources are available, that how you can understand easily the different lectures and different courses are freely offered by the different platforms, as that I am giving a visiting lecture in your platform. So it's a open access for all. So everyone come and learn and educate themselves from these open resources. So we have to think of that our students have giving the opportunities for these openness platforms and these resources they have to use, because their goals are becoming more and more worried about for these openness platforms. Because if you are using these platforms, you have very much access to the world, and to increase your knowledge, these courses are offering your certifications and your trainings, ongoing trainings are delivering in these platforms. So you have to think about that you have an open access nowadays. And before this openness, you are not able to get the knowledge and get these certifications from online resources, because you have to pay for these courses, and you have physically go to there and get the degree or get the certificate from that institute. So it's a very good point that you have an openness access to all these entities, and you have
Pardon,
any
Mr.
more question?
Yes, we have the question from Mr. Suharso for the last question.
So the question is that with how many many educated peoples are jobless since job fields are limited. So we are living in the online environment in the online education system, and we are 45% using in our daily life. We are using 45% of our resources are utilized by the artificial intelligence, but still there is a need of human resource, because humans can't be replaced by machines completely, because there are some drawbacks of the machines. So, there are some benefits of the technology, and so there are some drawbacks of the technology. because jobs are not only for the educated people. If you are educated, you don't have the knowledge, so you don't get the job, because you are based on your skills, and you get job on your skills, on your knowledge. So you don't get the job, that I am educated and I get the job, because the job fields are limited, and I can't get the job. The seats, job fields are not limited, because in one area you are searching that job. Now you are living in the digitalization, and you are getting the job throughout the world, because you have an open access to the world, because you are living in the global village. So if you want to get the job globally or internationally, in some industry or in some firm, so you have to learn about something. Don't want to educate yourself, because education is just a degree, but when you add a value to your degree by getting some knowledge or some skills are in yourself, so you can get, or you can target that job easily. So it's a very much easily to get the job in some distance areas, in some developed countries, because with the help of your skills and with the help of your
Wait, if
I think there is no more question.
Okay, thank you so much. Thank you for answering. I think it's very clear answer from Mr. Homan. Before I close this event, we will go to the next session for time for documentation. For everyone, please open your camera. We will take a picture on the count of three. One, one, two, three. Okay, another one. One, two, three. Smile. Thank you for your keen cooperation. Finally, we came to the end of the visiting lecture today. We would like to say thanks to Mr. Homan Memon for the wonderful information and sharing your knowledge. We hope this information will be beneficial for our audience. And thank you so much for all participants for attending this class today and make this even more interesting. At least we hope to have more collaboration in the future with University of Sindh from Pakistan. Okay. Thank you and have a nice day for Mr. Homan Memon and for all participants. And thank you so much for attending this class today and see you soon on this another event. Thank you so much.
Thank you, Novita.
Okay, thank you. Goodbye and have a nice day.